Good morning, children. How are you all? I hope you are fine. So, children, we are discussing A reading from third unit, right? In yesterday's session, we have seen workbook part. So, today we'll see A reading, that is the journey, vocabulary and grammar part from textbook. Everybody open your textbooks and have you written classwork, summary and glossary of the lesson, the journey, write in your classwork. Okay? Yes. Page number 82. Look at second bit. The following ideas belong to certain paragraphs in the story. Identify the paragraphs and put these numbers against them. Actually, there are four sentences, right, children? These four sentences reflects the ideas from the lesson. For example, if you look at the first sentence, the author enjoyed his married life. The author enjoyed his married life. This one not given in the textbook. Exact sentence is not there in the lesson. But we can understand that. We came to know that he enjoyed his married life. Isn't it, children? We know that, right? So from which paragraph you are able to know that? Which paragraph is giving that particular idea? It's maybe from first paragraph, second, third one, like that. Understood, children? So for all those sentences, read that and from which paragraph you are getting that particular idea, count that number and write there. First paragraph, fifth one, sixth one, seventh one, like that. For all those four sentences, you have to write like that. Understood, children? Do it as homework. Next one. The following statements are false. Correct them. So here also again four sentences are there. Actually they are given false. They are not true. So you have to correct them. That means write the correct answer. This one also you know that. First one, for example. The author offered to carry the trunk for some time. Is it true, children? It's not true. All the way the luggage was carried by his father only. He never offered to carry the trunk. Like that, correct the statements. Okay, that is also homework. Next, coming to the vocabulary part. There are some words. What are those? Newly wed wife, bus stop, forehead. I am repeating. Newly wed wife, bus stop, forehead. They are all compound words. A compound word is a union of two or more words to convey a specific idea or special meaning that is not as clearly or quickly conveyed by the separate words. So here, if you look at these words, newly wed wife, bus stop, forehead. So here we can observe more than one word. They are written as single. They are united. Like union of the words. They are looking like union of the words. But these are giving only one specific idea. So newly wed wife means we are getting only one specific idea. So these words are called as compound words. So compound words can be written in three ways. How is that? We'll see now. Okay. The use of compounding in English is an evolving process. As expressions become more popular or adopt special meanings, they follow a gradual evolution from two or more separate or hyphenated words to single words. So depends. We can write them in three possible ways. First one is hyphenated words. Second one, open compound words. Third one, closed compound words. So if you separate the words by using hyphen, then those are called as hyphenated compound words. This is the example. Second one, bus stop. If we separate the words by using space, then those are called as open compound words. Third one, if we write them without any space or hyphen, that means combinedly, then those are called as closed compound words. Understood, children? Like this we can express or write these words. For example, here some more examples are given. Audio, visual, copy, editor, wildlife. So these are given in textbook, children. Okay. So if you observe those three words, in all the three forms are given. First one is like open one, second one hyphenated form, third one closed form. These are the three possible ways. All are correct only. We can write in any way. Okay. Anyway, just I'll read the last paragraph. A hyphenated compound is a combination of words joined by a hyphen or hyphens. Here, the hyphen aids understanding and readability and ensure correct pronunciation. Words are hyphenated mainly to express the idea of a unit and to avoid ambiguity. See here, compound words means what we discussed. These are like combination of two or more words. If more words are there, okay, if we write like that, may in the closed form, if we write like this, maybe we can't understand properly. There will be ambiguity. Ambiguity means like doubt. Okay, so if you separate the words by using hyphen, we can understand clearly. Understood, children? So like that. Okay, so that comes under compound words. So pick out all the compound words from the story and group them under the headings as explained above. So in the lesson there are some more compound words. What we have to do? Just search for those compound words and write down whether they have given in open form, closed form or hyphenated form. Understood, children? Yes. Now let's discuss the grammar part. Okay. 83 page number. In this story, the author used the past perfect, that means had plus past participle, in many sentences. If you observe the following sentences from the story and the rules given under them, you will understand why and how the past perfect is used. Okay, let's see the examples. First one. It was 10:20. My father had already left. Okay, so why it was given like that, we'll see. When an action takes place before a point of time in the past, the action is expressed in the past perfect tense. Sometimes the point of time can be understood from the earlier sentences and other contextual clues. Okay, see, general past tense means what? Past tense means we use it to express the events which were already completed. Okay, so in that again past perfect tense. Past perfect tense means if we are using to describe about two actions that were taken place in the past. We want to describe about two actions that were already taken place in the past, then we have to use past perfect tense. Especially he is saying that if we are talking about any particular time, we are saying like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock. At that time, what happened? So if we are referring time there, then word must be expressed in past perfect tense. Past perfect tense means had plus V3 form. Had plus V3 form. See here, it was 10:20. We are talking about time here. We are talking about time. It was 10:20. Was past tense. Was past tense. It was 10:20. Then what happened? It was 10:20. Then what happened? By that time itself, my father had already left. It was 10:20. Before that itself, his father left. So he wanted to express that two actions, 1 and 2. Already past tense. But here, if you take this action, this was already completed before this time. Understood, children? Before 10:20 itself, his father left. Before 10:20 itself, his father left. He wanted to express that. That's why it was given in past perfect tense. Had left. Leave, left, left. Had left. Had left. Understood, children? So if you want to express like this by using time, we have to mention that one in past perfect tense. Okay, okay children, like that. Okay. For example, it was 9 o'clock, already player had started. It was 9 o'clock, already player had started, like that. Okay. Next one. Next one, look at that. Finally, we reached Dirang. The bus from Tawang had not yet reached Dirang. Reading again. Finally, we reached Dirang. The bus from Tawang had not yet reached Dirang. So, here also two actions. First one is what? We reached Dirang. Second action, the bus from Tawang had not yet reached Dirang. So, why it was given like that? When two actions in the past are clearly separated by time, the earlier action is expressed in the past perfect tense. So, here, finally we reached Dirang. This is one action. Another action is the bus from Tawang had not yet reached. Okay, so here actually if you observe these two sentences, this is first one and this is second one. We are talking that we reached that, but by that time the bus was not yet reached. Okay, so here we are separating them. We are separating them. Here it's like continuation. Here we are separating them. In that case also first action must be expressed in past perfect tense. So here had reached, reach. Understood children? Yes. Now let's see next examples. Okay. Third one, I quickly sat down on a rock. My father laughed at my plight. Okay, when two actions in the past happen simultaneously, both of them expressed in the past tense. Here we are talking about only simple past tense. Here, two actions, they took place simultaneously. In the above two examples we have seen, from the first example we have seen, by that time already one more action taken place. Second one also we described like that only. But coming to the third one, in the past we are talking about two actions which were taken place simultaneously. Simultaneously means at a time. Then we have to describe those actions in only past tense. We need not to write past perfect tense. So the example, I quickly sat down on the rack. So here the author, the narrator, he quickly sat on a rack. At the time itself, his father laughed at him. So my father laughed at my plight. So two actions, if you observe, only sat, laughed. Sit, sat, sit. Laugh, laughed. We haven't used any had. That means both the actions were described only in simple past tense. Because those two actions took place simultaneously at a time. That's the reason. Understood children? Yes. Fourth one. Sunita never saw a bear before she was transferred to Maredumilli. B1. Sindh closed the doors because she heard loud noises from outside. See, I never met him after I left India. These are the examples given there. Normally, when the time relation is unambiguous, that means no clarity, by the use of before, after, because, the simple past tense is used to refer to both past actions. See here, up to 3 examples, we were talking about particular time or actions and all. If we are not talking about any particular time or period, we don't want to mention that, then also we can describe the actions in only past tense. For example, Sunita never saw a bear before she was transferred to Maredumilli. Here we don't know when she transferred to Maredumilli. Last year, last month, last week or 10 years back, we don't know. The time was not at all given. And also before of that time we are talking. So when this was taken place, there is no clarity at all. Just we are giving the information. That's it. So simply it was expressed in past tense. So Sunita never saw. See, saw, seen. Saw a bear before she was transferred to Maridumilli. Like this, children. So here, identify the tense and given reasons for the tense used. So there are 15 sentences. So tell it whether they are given only in simple past tense or past perfect tense, and what's the reason for that. Okay. Next, page number 85, writing part. In the story, The Journey, the author says, my education had made me shun physical labor. This is an adverse effect of education. Adverse means negative. Okay, now write an essay on the adverse effects of education. Here are some points. So you have to write one essay. What's the concept? What is the topic? Adverse effect of education. And you can use the points like first one is what? Doing some work that involves physical labor, dress or fashion, family relationships, giving respect to elders, the treatment of illiterate people. So how the impact will be on the people. So how the impact of education will be on the people. Okay, how they behave. So about that you have to write the essay. Okay. Next one, we'll see the listening part today. Page number 86, of course, we'll see this listening. Just I will read that. I don't explain that because it's listening and speaking. So you only have to answer the questions. Page number 251, the lazy son. The lazy son. Once there was a very rich man. His name was Dhanraju. He had two sons. Okay, Ganiraju and Poturaju. Ganiraju was hard working and obedient. He always helped his father in the fields. But Poturaju was lazy. He never went to fields. He was disobedient to his father. He always wanted to lead a free, lavish life. So one day he said to his father, Father, give me my share of property. The father was heartbroken. See, look at this word, children. Heartbroken, compound word. He divided the property between his two sons. Poturaju left home with his share. He went to distant land, made a lot of friends, and soon spent all his property lavishly on friends, food, and drinks. All his friends left him. At the time, there was a famine and Poturaju had no work and food. None of his friends gave him food or money. He took up the job of feeding pigs. Sometimes he had to eat the food kept for the pigs. He was very sad about his condition. He soon began to think of his father and his brother. He said to himself, in my father's house, even the servants have enough food. They get good shelter too. But here I am struggling for food and shelter. I will go back to my father. I'll beg him to take me as his servant. So decided, the dishonest son set out for his father's house. In the meantime, his father was always thinking of his second son. He would sit near the windows. He would look out at the road, expecting his son to return home. One day, Dhanraju saw his son coming at a distance. He ran out of the house in great joy and hugged his son. His son knelt down. He said, Father, I am not fit to be your son. Take me as your servant. So that's the story. Wonderful story, children. There is a wonderful message. So you also should be careful. Okay. So try to answer those questions given in the lesson. Okay. Page number 86. True or false? Poturaju went to far-off lands to enjoy free life. Ganiraju asked his father to give his share of property. Poturaju had a lavish life from the beginning. Dhanraju didn't care about Poturaju. So you know which is true and which is false. Write it down there. And next one, give one appropriate title for the story. Okay. So 3 options are given there. A rich son, repentance, 2 sons. So which one you think is the correct one? Give that title. Okay, in tomorrow's session, we'll see the poem. Thank you.